Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by individuals on this platform, the callers plus invited guests, are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with this brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Don't touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio.
Help keep the show on the air. If you want to help, you can send your donation through PayPal. The email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com or through Cash App, $Sal Showtime. Thanks for your support.
Hey, everyone. Shalom, shalom, mishpacha wa habarim. This is your girl, Shan-T. You are here on another Debate Talk for You segment called The Second Quarter. And today, the topic is chakra meditation, crystal healing, or crystal manifestation okayed by the Most High Yahweh for the children of Israel? Again, today's title is chakra meditation, crystal healing, or manifestation okayed or all right by Yahweh for the children of Israel? And before I officially start giving overview and introduce my co-host, I like to say, Kol Tehalim, Kol Kabod, Wahati Fedes, Le Yahweh, Eloheinu, Abinu. And that is all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, our Elohim, our deity, our power, our Father. And before I give an overview or a brief overview, as always, I have Brother B.A. here with me. Brother B.A., you can come on in and formally introduce yourself.
Greetings. Thank you, sis. And thank you, Sal. Thank you for having me here on the second quarter. All praises to the Most High God, in the name of His only anointed, known as Yeshua the Christ. And this evening, it should be very interesting to look and take and examine examine what's going on concerning the title. I'll say that much.
Thank you, B.A. It's always a pleasure to have you here. To the Most High Yahweh be the glory for your contribution, your commentary, and your integrity in the text. And that's, of course, why I have you here. And, yeah, before we get into the title and why we're doing it, thank you, Sal, once again for allowing us to be on the second quarter. We want to remind all of the callers listening in, if you want to press the 1, we'd love during this time to hear your questions, your comments, and your concerns about this topic. So the number to call in, 563-999-3674. Press the 1 to talk. Again, that number is 563-999-3674. Press the 1 to talk. We'd love to hear your questions, your concerns, or your thoughts. This is not necessarily a formal lesson. This was to be a dialogue between myself, BA, and a couple of guests. If the guests do not come on, that is okay. And before I get into the meat and potatoes as to what this discussion is about and why it was on my heart to bring it about, I would like to ask Sal if there are any announcements to be made.
Well, as always, it's always an honor and a pleasure to be here on the second quarter. For the family out there that's listening on Blog Talk Radio, you want to check Shan-T out and Brother B.A., all their information is in the description box. So if you want to reach out on social media, if you want to reach out on Facebook, just check it out the description box, and all the links are right there. Other than that, without further ado, let's go.
All right. So, today's title is Chakra Meditation, Crystal Healing, or Manifestation okayed by Yahweh the Most High Yahweh for the children of Israel. And the reason I came up with that title is because it's been on my heart for quite some time now, probably for maybe the last year or two, where a person such as myself who believes in the totality of the text, meaning from Genesis to Revelation, I believe in keeping the applicable parts of the Torah, and I do believe that Yeshua is the prophesied Messiah to come, talked about in the first 5 books of the Bible. I do believe the Messiah Yeshua was sent here, was manifested in flesh, roamed the earth, was killed, was resurrected. So that is my belief. So coming into this walk, into this faith, I do call myself Israel. Israel, in the original definition, that's what I like to call myself. Israel is a person who strives, prevails, wrestles, and rules with the Most High Yahweh Elohim. And that's what I strive to do every day. The Most High Yahweh allows me to wake up breathing. So coming into this walk, you get on social media, whether it be Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. I'm on Facebook a lot, and I'm on Facebook as Shan-T Doc. And so I see a lot of people, coming into the faith. I think I came into the faith solid around 2013, and I began to see a lot of people have a lot of zeal, have a lot of a lot of enthusiasm to want to learn the word, follow the word, share the word. Whatever they came across, whatever knowledge, information people came across, they wanted to hurry up and immediately share it with their family and friends. They want to convert people. They want to, quote unquote, help people out. And this is the one right here. We want to wake our people up, we want to wake our people up. And people get into the walk, get into the faith of Israel. And certain things happen along the way where they fall out of obeying the tenets of the Torah. They fall out with even loving the God of Israel or the Most High Yahweh of Israel. They fall out from that. And something happens along the way, be it a teacher swayed them, be it a relationship went awry or it went sour. It could be a couple of things, like abuse, certain things. And what happens is the people who used to be into the Bible, for whatever reason that got out of it, they get into another type of spirituality, or they get into another type of spirituality while supposedly keeping the same laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High Yahweh gave to the children of Israel. So let me say it like this. There are certain people on the internet and off the internet who say, hey, we can serve the Most High Yahweh any way we want to, following his laws, statutes, and commandments, while at the same time getting into chakra meditation, getting into crystal healing, and the Most High Yahweh doesn't have any negative consequences for it. They'll say that. So there was a question I posed about two weeks ago on Facebook, and I'll read it. It says, who thinks the Elohim of Israel allowed the children of Israel to worship him while at the same time being able to dabble in crystals, amulets, chakras, sage washing, ancestor worship altars, tarot cards, natal charts, and moon bathing for manifesting and healing? I also said, would you be willing to come have a dialogue about it on my blog talk segment, the second quarter in 2 weeks? Hit me up. I made that post on October 12th. So I see a lot of people saying they serve the God of Israel. They say they serve the deity of Israel. And at the same time, we see them getting into using crystals for healing and manifestation. We see them using amulets. We see them talking about, I'm tapping into my chakras. We see them talking about, I set up these altars to worship my ancestors. I got my skull and my candles there. They talk about, we can pull out tarot cards and at the same time worship the Most High Yahweh, and we don't have no negative consequences, right? So I talked to a few people, and they're like, you know what? We have free will. The Most High Yahweh gave us free will. And I'm like, okay, I'm confused. And I am confused. I don't know if anybody out there listening is confused, but this is my stance. I try to, as much as possible, read the biblical Hebrew and the biblical Greek, and I try to look at idioms, euphemisms. I try to look at geographical location, the culture, how people define things back in the 10th century BCE, 15th century BCE. I look at ancient Near Eastern culture, stuff like that. I look at that. I don't see here in the text where Yahweh allowed the children of Israel to worship him at the same time while getting into crystals for manifestation and healing. I don't see the Most High Yahweh allowing tapping into the chakra type meditation for the children of Israel. I just don't see it. I don't see allowing tarot card readings at the same time. I don't see sage washing being allowed. I've heard people say, oh, Shan-T, the sage is just another word for hyssop, and they can't even tell me where the definition is for that, you know. So I'm not saying these people are incorrect. I'm just saying there is certain things that I don't see the Most High allowing the children of Israel to do. And if the children of Israel got into these certain things, I see the Most High Yahweh punishing Israel for dabbling into certain things. And maybe it's a possibility that certain modern words, you know, are not necessarily understood as a word from old, you know, a word from the Old Testament, maybe Leviticus or Deuteronomy, which we're going to go to. Some people may get confused. It's like, oh, okay, well, this modern word here is not the old school word there. It don't mean the same thing. I've heard a lot of people say that, and that could be the confusion as well. So let's go here, BA. Let's go to Exodus. Let's just start here. Let's go to Exodus 20. This is just a dialogue. It's no formal thing, but we're going to go to Exodus 20. And BA, doesn't matter what version you read from. You can start reading from verse 1. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 1. You there, BA?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, hold on for a second.
Y'all good over there, BA? All right. So while BA is getting that together, yeah.
Give me like 3 minutes real quick. I gotta fall back for a second. Give me like 3 minutes.
No problem. I'll go ahead and get it in. So I'm going to read starting at Exodus chapter 20 and verse 1. I'm going to read from the English Standard Version, going back and forth between this and the Scriptures ISR. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. And then the Scriptures ISR version, Exodus 20, starting from verse 1, it says, And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. Verse 3 is the focus. You shall have no other gods before me, in front of me, against me. So this lets us know there are other deities, powers, Elohim, mighty ones. However, the Most High Yahweh, it says, Yahweh saying, I am Yahweh, your deity, your power. So this is when the Most High took the children of Israel out of bondage, out of slavery, out of Mitzrayim, and made them a nation. It was given them the 10 Commandments, the 10 utterances, which established them as a nation. This is the marriage, the covenant that established the Most High Yahweh to be the Elohim of the children of Israel. Right? So the Most High is saying, you shall have no other mighty ones against my face, because I'm your deity. I'm your power. These other nations, they have their powers. They have their deities. They have their mighty ones. All right? I'm going to read Deuteronomy 32 real quick. Because when the Most High Yahweh, after the Tower of Babel, scattered the 70 different nations according to the 70 Elohim, and put them in different geographical locations, gave them different tongues with different languages, that's when he separated the people. And the separation of the people is according to the 70 Elohim. So there's a deity over each nation, people, geographical location. And then actually those deities who are over those geographical locations, they have sub-deities, deities under them. You see? So let me read something, Deuteronomy 32. Let's see. Deuteronomy 32. I'm going to read both the ESV and the Scriptures ISR if I could. Actually, no, let's just read it from the Scriptures ISR. Okay, so Deuteronomy 32, starting at verse 1. Says, give ear, O heavens, and let me speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. Let my instruction fall as rain, my speech drop down as dew, as fine rain on the tender plants, and as showers on the grass. For I proclaim the name of Yahweh. Ascribe greatness to our Elohim. The rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are right ruling, an El of truth, and without unrighteousness. Righteous as straight as he. A twisted and crooked generation has corrupted itself. Their blemish, not his children. Do you do this to Yahweh, O foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father, who bought you, who created you and established you? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and let him show you, your elders, and let them say to you, when the Most High gave the nations their inheritance. Listen to this, verse 8. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the children of Israel, it says here. However, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, we understand from looking at textual criticism here, it actually says he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the sons of Elohim. The sons of Elohim, the 70 Elohim. So, the Most High Yahweh set a different deity over the geographical locations, right? Verse 9. For the portion of Yahweh is his people, Yaakov his allotted inheritance. The ESV, verse 8, says, when the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, when he divided mankind, he fixed the borders of the peoples according to the number of the sons of God. But the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob his allotted inheritance. So, Yahweh is the deity over the children of Israel, right? Yahweh is the deity over the children of Israel. I recall the Most High Yahweh saying something here to the children of Israel. There's a whole bunch of notes I have here, but we'll get into the chakra meditation and the crystals in a hot second, but I'm just laying some foundation. Deuteronomy 12. Deuteronomy 12. Let's see here. I'm going to start at verse 28. I'm going to start at verse 28. Okay. Actually, let's start at verse 29. Deuteronomy chapter 12, starting at verse 29, I'm going to read from the ESV. It says, when the Lord your God cuts off before you the nations whom you go in to dispossess, and you dispossess them, and dwell in their land, take care that you be not ensnared to follow them. So take care that you be not entrapped to follow them, to imitate them, right? After they have been destroyed before you, and that you do not inquire or ask about their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods, that I also may do the same? You shall not worship the Lord your God in that way, for every abominable thing that the Lord hates they have done for their gods, for they even burn their sons and their daughters in the fire to their gods. So the Most High right here is saying a critical warning to the children of Israel about idolatry. Says, hey, I'm sending you to this land here. Be careful. Take good care that you be not entrapped or ensnared to follow after these people. Follow after these people means do their actions, their behavior, their conduct, their practices, their ways, their customs, their traditions, their rituals, right? Be careful not to follow after them, saying, how did these nations serve their God, that I also may do the same? Then the Most High said, you know what? You shall not worship the Lord your God in that way, because every abominable or hateful thing, every abominable thing that the Lord hates, they have done for their God. All right? So, let's see here. So, when the Most High Yahweh established Israel as a nation, he gave them some laws, statutes, and commandments. And he started out with saying, have no other gods before me. And then towards the ending, in Deuteronomy 12, hey, I'm sending you to this land. Do not follow after these people's ways. Don't inquire about how they serve their deity. There is a distinction there. All right? So, with that being said, let's get into some other things here. All right. Now, I forget what it was, but it was a couple of brothers. I forget what their name was, but it was a YouTube I came across, and they held up this book and said, "Hey, chakras are in the Bible," and they held up the book, and I went and seen if I can find that book, and I read some things and highlighted some things from that book. But I was like, how are these people equating chakras to be in the Bible, you know? And I was like, okay, I get what they're trying to do, but I really still didn't comprehend and understand, because the Most High Yahweh said, have no other God before me. And it looked like some of these things were pertaining to other deities. We're going to get into that. But the Most High Yahweh clearly says there's some specifications that get there's some specifications or some definitions that people may not understand what they mean. So Deuteronomy 18, and this is the part that kind of confused me, because to me this is clear, but to other people it may not be clear. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 18. Okay. Deuteronomy Chapter 18. We're going to start at verse 9. And I'm going to read from the scriptures ISR. All right. And if I need to, we'll look up a couple of words here. Okay, it says, when you come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you. Let me read that again. When you come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you, do not learn to do according to the abominations of those nations. Sound like what I just read in Deuteronomy 12. Verse 10, let no one be found among you who makes his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or one who practices divination, or a user of magic, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or one who conjures spells, or a medium, or a spiritist, or one who calls up the dead. Verse 12, for whoever does these are an abomination to Yahweh, and because of these abominations, Yahweh, your Elohim, drives them out from before you. Verse 13, be perfect before Yahweh, your Elohim. Verse 14, because these nations whom you are possessing do listen to those using magic and to diviners. But as for you, who's the you? The children of Israel. Yahweh, your Elohim, has not appointed such for you. So, let's do this. Let's talk about chakra meditation for a minute. Now, people say, hey, Shan-T, I get into the chakra meditation, yoga, all that, and Yeshua is my teacher. And I'd be like, wait a minute. How is Yeshua your teacher and you're getting into chakra meditation? Well, Shan-T, I look at the Bible like this. I've heard some people go to Matthew 6. Now I want to bring up something here. And bear with me, I'm taking my time as usual. Once again, the number is 563-999-3674. Once again, the number is 563-999-3674. Press the 1 to talk. All right? So I'm going to go to Matthew 6 real quick. I'm going to pull up some information. Let's see. And then I'm gonna read some information from this book about the chakras. Now, my thing is, I'm not here to condemn nobody. I'm not here to convict. I'm here to comprehend. That's my thing. If there's anybody out there who says, hey, Shan-T, I worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I think we are allowed to do these things without any negative consequences. Hit the line up. Hit the line up, please, because I'm trying to understand. My thing is, if you are dabbling into those things, okay, cool. However, just from what I read from Deuteronomy 18 and verse 14 says, but as for you, the children of Israel, if you claim it to be Israel and claim it to be and claiming that the Most High Yahweh is your Elohim, it says here, as for you, Yahweh your Elohim has not appointed such for you. Let's go to Matthew 6. Matthew 6, verse 21. Actually, no. Let's just read verse 22. Matthew 6, verse 22. It says, the lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. So somebody will say, hey, Shan-T, that's the third eye. That's your pineal gland. That's your third eye. You're supposed to awaken the third eye. And I'm like, okay. So is that how the ancient Israelite culture back in the 1st century CE would look at this verse? Because there's such things in a culture as slang terms, idioms, and euphemisms. So I would be like, okay, Scripture a lot of times interprets Scripture, right? I would connect the meaning of Matthew 6 verse 22 to a few verses we read in Proverbs, right? So let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 22 and verse 9, right? Proverbs 22 and verse 9 says, he who has a good eye is blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. So he who has a good eye is blessed. So the person who has a good eye is blessed. He's giving to the poor. Oh, okay. So a person who has a good eye is a giver. They're a giver. And they probably give cheerfully, right? Let's go to Proverbs 23, verse 6. Proverbs 23 and verse 6. It says, do not eat the bread of one having an evil eye, nor desire his delicacies. For as he reckons in his life, so is he. Eat and drink, he says to you, but his heart is not with you. So it says, do not eat the bread of one having an evil eye, nor his delicacies. Because as he reckons in his life, so is he. He says eat and drink, but his heart's not with you. So pretty much, he's not really a giver. He's the opposite. He's the opposite. And this is the kicker right here. Proverbs 28. Proverbs 28, verse 22. A man with an evil eye runs after wealth and does not know that poverty awaits him. So, a man with an evil eye runs after wealth. So, the person with the evil eye is pretty much you're running after riches and treasure. You're greedy. So, my understanding is when the Most High Yahweh separated out the 70 nations over at least 70 different geographical locations at that time and put a deity over each of those locations, those peoples developed a culture. So the culture that those peoples developed within their nations, the Most High Yahweh distinguished the children of Israel to having a certain culture, a specific culture, right? And that culture that the Most High Yahweh gave says, hey, the people back in this time, in 1st century CE, when definitely Yeshua roamed the earth and is talking, would have probably understood Matthew 6 and verse 22, the lamp of the body is the eye. Therefore, your eye is good, all your body shall be enlightened. The good eye is the person who's symbolized to be a giver. And so the evil eye will be equated to a person who's greedy and stingy. So where do people get off assimilating another nation's culture into the Most High's culture? Clearly, that's not what we're supposed to do. I know the Bible is not a verbatim book, but my thing is, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Hold on real quick. See, I believe the Most High Yahweh gives us everything we need. We are enough. I think the Most High Yahweh gave us everything that we needed to do our function, everything we need, everything we desire, if our desires line up with the Most High Yahweh's will. So, let me read something to go along with that here. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. Let me see. Do I want that one or this? I don't got my flipper here, you know what I mean? All right, so I'm going to read Deuteronomy Chapter 8, starting at verse 1. It says, guard to do every command which I command you today, that you might live and shall increase and go in and shall possess the land of which Yahweh swore to your fathers. And you shall remember that Yahweh your Elohim led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you, prove you, to know what is in your heart, whether you guard his commands or not. And he humbled you and let you suffer hunger and fed you with manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, to make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of Yahweh. Verse 4, your garments did not wear out on you, nor did your foot swell these 40 years. Thus you shall know in your heart that as a man disciplines his son, so Yahweh your Elohim disciplines you. Therefore you shall guard the commands of Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in his ways and to fear him. All right? Okay, so with that being said, the Most High Yahweh led the children of Israel through the wilderness for 40 years and gave them everything that they need. They had everything that they needed. And the Most High Yahweh was laying down pretty much the rules of the house. The covenant was something they agreed to. They said, all that you say, we'll obey and do. Over in Exodus, right? Even before they got the 10 utterances said to them, right? So, back to the chakras. So somebody says, hey, Shan-T, we can tap into the chakras. I said, okay. Now, I really didn't know what this was, because as a person who tries to obey the Most High Yahweh through the Son Yeshua with all their might, strength, and ability, I did not see a need for burning sage. Not to say that, anyone who burns sage, has any need, but I'm like, I never felt compelled to do all this stuff. Like, why do people, in my mind, I was like, well, why do people need sage? And why do people need these crystals? Why do people need to tap into chakras? Why do people need some shuffling cards for tarot, like tarot cards? Why do they need all this stuff? This is just material stuff. When the source from which all that came, from, I can just go directly to. Why do I need all that stuff when I can go directly to the ultimate powerful source? That was my question. So, let's look up a couple of verses for meditation. Then I'll go into this chakra book. Once again, the number is 563-999-3674. Again, 563-999-3674. And this is not necessarily a formal lesson, like I said. You can call in with your questions, your comments, your concerns, anything. And press the 1 to talk.
Yeah, Sean.
I'm going to read.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Let me chime in real quick.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. There's some people that's listening to the program actually want to understand what is a chakra. Because people hear that term.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into that first. So what is a chakra, huh? Y'all scared to press the 1 and be like, hey, Shan-T, what's a chakra?
Yeah, press
y'all
the 1.
Y'all send the sound to ask me,
That's right. You can dial that number 563-999-3674. Press number 1. We'd like to hear from you guys live.
I'm just messing with y'all. Okay, let's go into the book. I'll get into the verses in a minute about meditation, but let's go into this book here. Okay. Now, this book I'm going to be reading from is called Chakras, Energy Centers of Transformation. And this is the revised and expanded edition of the best-selling classic by a guy named Harish Johari, HARISHJOHARI. And I found this on the Scribed app, right? So let me read some things about this chakra. Let's go into this book here. Okay. Chakras is defined as psychic centers of transformation that enable one to move toward an enlightened state of being. Chakra is a Sanskrit word that means a wheel, disc, or any arrangement in circular form or organization. And there are 7 major chakras. They show up as a lotus. They are figurative, a lotus blossom, a circular form surrounded by petals. And so the word chakra indicates movement, and chakras introduce movement because they transform psychophysical energy into spiritual energy. Let me just continue to read this about the chakra, right? Okay, so psychophysical energy is electrochemical in nature, and it works with the help of prana, P-R-A-N-A, prana. So prana is the energy that creates life, matter, and mind. The word prana means vital life force, right? So remember this, prana means vital life force. So it operates superphysically through a quote-unquote wireless system rather than through the nervous system, right? So they say our body exists at 2 levels. The gross material level is composed of the 7 dhatus. I don't know if I'm saying that word right. So the 7 dhatus: flesh, bone, clay, blood, fat, marrow, fluids, and 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and akasha. Akasha is the void or space. And so the subtle level is composed of the vital life force called the prana, right? So the subtle level is composed of the vital life force, prana, mind, manas, the intellect, buddhi, the ego, ahamkara, and the feeling self, chitta. So prana is the means by which the subtle and the gross in the human organism are connected. And it activates all the systems in the body, including the nervous systems, and it helps them work together as they should. Now, watch this. Prana is distributed throughout the body by nadis, or channels of energy. Nadis is spelled N as in Nancy, A-D-I-S, right? So prana, that vital life force, is distributed throughout the body by nadis, or channels of energy. So the nadi transport system belongs to the subtle body, and the chakras are connected to the main nadi, or channel of energy of this system, the Sushumna, which operates within the vertebral column, or the spine, right? So it says chakras thus don't belong to the material body and can't be described fully from a materialistic standpoint, right? But it says chakras are not imaginary centers. They are subtle centers that can be activated by the techniques described in this book. So there's 7 major chakras. So Muladhara chakra, the base of the spine, they call that the element earth. This word I can't pronounce, probably Vatishtana chakra, the genitals, and that's called the element water. The Manipura chakra, which is the navel and the element fire. Anahata chakra, the heart and the element air. The Visuddha chakra, the throat and the element akasha, void or space. So that's why you hear people talking about the throat chakra, right? A lot. Visuddha chakra. And then the 6th chakra is called the Ajna chakra, the point between the eyebrows. And it's something called the Mahatattva. And it's the combination of the essence of all the elements in the purest form. And the last one is called the Sahasrara chakra, and it's called the crown of the head. And it transcends all elemental influences. And it includes the Soma chakra, and it's associated with the area above the 3rd eye, or the point between the eyebrows. Now, I'm reading all this for a reason. I'm reading all this for a reason. But I do want to read all of it because it's important. Okay. It says knowledge about the chakras are key to introspection, and one can see oneself going through the mental fluctuations rising from constant interaction between the mind, intellect, ego, and the world outside. So in the very beginning, this is author of the book says, in the very beginning of his Yoga Sutra, this guy named Patanjali, Patanjali, states to control these mental fluctuations is yoga, right? So control of these mental modifications is only possible by controlling the prana. So yes, chakras have something to do with yoga. This is how you control the prana, that vital life force, right? Now watch this. They said the control of the prana is the primary step in the spiritual path of yoga, right? So the book that I'm reading is about the practices of Tantra yoga, right? Primary origin of the system of working with chakras and the dormant Kundalini energy. Now, I know you guys have heard of that before, right? But probably didn't know what Kundalini was, right? So, let me say that again. So, yoga is the primary origin of the system of working with chakras and the dormant Kundalini energy. So, one's dormant spiritual energy called Kundalini is a snake coiled up in the first chakra at the base of the spine, right? So this dormant spiritual energy called Kundalini is like a snake coiled up in the base of the spine, and the roused energy moves upward in the central nadi, right? Remember what the nadi was? The nadi was the nadi was the central the channels of energy, right? So the roused energy moves upward in the central nadi, and it passes through each of the 6 lower chakras to reach the 7th chakra. Upward, right? Upward. So you're trying to get this dormant Kundalini snake coiled upward to pierce upward through the chakras all the way to the top. Watch this. Okay, the release and ascent of the dormant spiritual energy enables the aspirant to transcend the effects of the elements and achieve the non-dual consciousness that brings liberation from the ever-changing world of illusion. Right? So, the thing about this Kundalini is this. These practices of getting that Kundalini to move upward to the highest top chakra, it involves Tantra yoga, right? And the Tantra yoga, these things are from what you call the Hindu scriptures. The Hindu scriptures. That's why these words sound the way they do, right? When I was talking about all the chakras and everything. So they come from the Hindu scriptures, not the Hebrew scriptures. They come from the Hindu scriptures, right? And so these Hindu scriptures, check them out. They are dialogues between Shiva. Shiva is the name of the infinite supreme consciousness, right, who lies at the very top chakra, and Shakti. Shakti is called the divine mother, who's also what? The eternal energy of the supreme consciousness. So, watch this. Shiva is at the top and Shakti is at the bottom. So Shakti is the dormant Kundalini that's lying dormant there, and then she's trying to reach up, piercing through all of those chakras through the spine to reach this Shiva, this infinite supreme consciousness. Now watch this. Let me see. I want to keep reading some more of this book here. This is tight. Okay, not tight in the sense for me, but this is tight to understand for the people of Israel to understand what's going on before they get into it. Right? I don't know if you noticed anything about me saying the name Shiva and Shakti. Watch this. Okay. It says the spiritual energy is the divine mother, Shakti herself, in the form of Kundalini. And so she is longing for union with her beloved, the supreme Shiva, who is in what? The eternal bliss in the top Sahasrara chakra at the top of the cranium. So this is a god and a goddess of the Hindus, right? The god is named Shiva, and the goddess is named Shakti. Now, how is the children of Israel prescribed this type form of meditation when it has to do with another God outside of the Most High Yahweh Elohim? That's my question. How would the Most High prescribe that for the children of Israel to get into, especially when Deuteronomy 18, verse 14 says, but as for you, Yahweh, your Elohim, has not appointed such for you. Now, when you look at the word yoga, you look at the definition for the word, let's see. What was it, the definition for either Tantra yoga? Yeah, go ahead. Hello?
Yo, sis. Yes, sis. I'm back. I my deepest apologies. All right. My deepest apologies.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good.
you know how it be. You know how it be. Single dad business, and it happens.
No problem. Okay, so the word yoga is derived from the Sanskrit root yuj, Y-U-J, meaning to join or to yoke or to unite. Now, when I read Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 9 to 14, there were some things in here that I found. So if you look at verse, I think that's 11. So Deuteronomy 18, verse 11, when it says, let no one be found among you who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire, verse 10, or one who practices divination or a user of magic, or one who interprets omens or a sorcerer, verse 11, or one who conjures spells. So one who conjures spells in the Hebrew, that would be wehober haber, one who casts spells. So if you look at this word in the Hebrew, one who is casting these spells, the root word is chabar, H2266 in the Hebrew. And the definition is to unite, join, bind together, be joined, be coupled, be in league, keep up, have fellowship with, right? To unite, be joined, to tie magic charms, to charm. So it is a strong possibility. Now, when the Most High Yahweh say, "Hey, don't be let no one be found among you who conjuring these spells." See, when we look at the word spells in the modern day English definitions, we think mainly people who live in the South, maybe Louisiana, using some voodoo, and they probably put some dust on you and use some chicken bones and feet and all that stuff. And, we think of somebody just try to say, okay, you're going to turn into a cat, or you're going to be walking around looking like a monkey or something, and you're going to be walking around granting me my every wish. We think that's just casting a spell. That's not the only thing that's not the only definition of casting a spell here. When you're trying to use Tantra yoga meditation to tap into your chakras or these wells of energy, you're actually saying, hey, I'm going to connect this goddess to this god here to come to a certain consciousness. But like I said, that's from the Hindu scriptures. The Hindu scriptures. You could go look at the Hindu scriptures at sacredtext.com. As a matter of fact, let me read something from there, and then we'll go to a couple of verses about meditation from the Bible, and then we'll go into talking about some things where the Most High Yahweh definitely does not want the children of Israel to think that He has a female consort. So let me read this for you here. I pulled up a lot of this information.
And you're reading from some Hindu sources, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I know I missed a lot, quite much. You know what I'm saying?
You missed the whole hour.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. So now this is about Shiva. This is about that god who is at that crown top chakra at the cranium, right? This is from sacredtext.com. You can go to Hinduism, yoga, and this is called Kundalini, the Mother of the Universe by Rishi Singh Gerwal. And it's called Why We Worship Shiva. It says, from time immemorial, the Hindus are worshiping God Shiva, who is master of truth, beauty, and bliss. From the highest Himalayas on the north down to Rameswar in the south, and from Handranath Hill on the east to Dwarka on the west, the whole of India is filled up with Shiva temples here and there. So it is quite needless to give any acquaintance of God Shiva to the Indians who they are ever familiar with. Their ins and outs are ever filled up with the attributes of Shiva, and hearts ever spring with joy in his very worship. This Shiva worship is not only an object of outward form of Hindu worship, but the greatest saint, Acharya Shankara, who perfectly realized within himself the true meaning of Indian worship of God Shiva, declared quite clearly in one of the hymns called Nirvana Shatkam as follows: I am beyond all imaginations and forms. I do not obey any sense, but all senses obey me. There is nothing without me. I am Shiva himself in the very shape of soul and joy. This is the real description of Shiva. The worshipers who proceed in their way with this true acquaintance of the worshipped are surely blessed. I'm not even going to read anymore. I'm not even going to read anymore. But if you want me to send you the link of the exact place to go so you can read the rest of this, you be my guest. But why would the Most High Yahweh prescribe this type of meditation that involves a god named Shiva and a goddess named Shan-T? B.A., you want to say anything to that before I move on?
That what you just read pretty much displays itself. But,
or are you laughing?
But I would just say this. We understand that there's a great awakening amongst our people, wanting to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. And we understand there's also a great awakening amongst being proud of who we are as far as our skin tone goes. And I don't see nothing wrong with being proud of who we are, but I think there's an over-righteousness, there's an overzealousness to be so separate or to be so set apart from this force called white supremacy.
So we get into this consciousness thinking that, oh, well, as long as it's not what I have come to learn on this side of the planet, then it must be okay. And like I said earlier, it's okay to want to know and understand our culture and examine other cultures as well. But if we're going to call ourselves the children of Israel or believers in the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and also the Father of Christ, we have to most definitely seek information out, meditate. And when I say meditate, I mean focus on his word, focus on him, and to go about this the right way according to how he sees fit. And with that, sis, keep going.
All right. I want to read. I want to read a couple of verses here. Let's see. Let's go to Exodus 34 and 13. Actually, nah. Let's just skip somewhere, and then I'm gonna go another place because I'm gonna try to keep it in a certain time frame here. Let's go to Deuteronomy Chapter 16, verse 21.
Deuteronomy 16,
verse 21.
All right. Verse 21. And I'll read from the King James. Thou shalt not plant thee a grove of any trees near unto the altar of the Lord thy God, which thou shalt make thee. Neither shalt thou set thee.
Pause. Verse 21. So it says, you shall not plant a grove?
Yep. Thou shalt not plant thee a grove.
A grove. What's a grove, VA? You know what a grove is?
Well, currently I just got back in, just came in, so bring me up to speed.
No problem. So we're going to look up the word grove in the Hebrew, H842. The word is Asherah. Asherah. Groves for idol worship. Right? Now, the definition is a Babylonian Astarte, Canaanite goddess of fortune and happiness, the supposed consort of Baal, her images. So the goddess, right? It could be her images, sacred trees or poles set up near an altar. There's also a definition. It could be Asherah or Astarte, a Phoenician goddess, right? Asherah. Asherah. Now, I want you to read for me one more thing about this grove or this Asherah here. Let's read 2 Kings chapter 21. Actually, yeah. Actually, no. Read 1 Kings 15:13, and then we'll go to 2 Kings. So read 1 Kings chapter 15, verse 13.
Okay. 1 Kings chapter 15 and verses 13 and 14?
Just verse 13.
Okay, verse 13. And also, Micaiah, his mother, even her he removed from being queen because she had made an idol in a grove. There we go. And Asa destroyed a grove.
A grove.
And Asa destroyed her idol and burnt it by the brook of Kidron.
Right. So Asa, when he was king, over the southern tribe, right, he did what was right in the eyes of the Most High Yahweh, as his father David did. Verse 12 says he put away all the cult prostitutes from the land. And I'm going to do a lesson on that, hopefully, in the next few months. And he removed all the idols that his father made. And when B.A. read verse 13, it says he removed Maacah, his grandmother. He removed his grandmother from being queen mother. Why? Because she made an abominable image for Asherah. See, the Most High signified that he has no female consort. He has no female consort. This is why he says, don't build no groves or these abominable images next to the altar. Pretty much in a roundabout way, not verbatim, but saying he has no female consort. You want to say something, B.A.?
No, I just want to say, I think that's why it's very important when we go to the book of Judges. We know in Deuteronomy, right after that, they were allowed to come into the land. And what did Israel do exactly when they came into the land, the book of Judges?
Everybody was doing what was right in their own eyes.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of people say that Israel not supposed to be dealing with the nations, or ain't supposed to be dealing with the heathen. We're not supposed to be dealing with them as far as their tradition. We're supposed to convert them to the ways of our God. So yes, dealing with the nations become a problem when we do what they do. So that's something that we have to take heed. So this thing about, we don't talk to the nations, we don't deal with the nations. No, the reason why the Most High had made, I think there's numbers if I can remember at the moment, somewhere in numbers. The reason why that was specified, not to not deal with them, but not to deal with them because the Most High knew your hearts, and you're gonna go off and whoring and worship another God. Well, go ahead, sis.
It's all good. There's something that I want to read real quick. Exodus 25, verse 22 from the scriptures ISR. When the Most High Yahweh was commanding Moshe to make the ark of the covenant of the witness, and then make the cherubim on top to spread their wings over the lid of atonement, and they're going to be facing each other, but they're going to be looking down, right? But verse 22 says, and I shall meet with you there. And from above the lid of atonement, from between the two cherubim, which are on the ark of the witness, I shall speak to you all that which I command you concerning the children of Israel. So between the cherubim is where the Most High sits, where the Most High, that's his throne, where the Most High will meet and speak with Moshe, right? Between the cherubim. So the Most High is the one who dwells between the cherubim, right? But watch this. I want to talk about how the children of Israel got into the Asherah worship. And if it's something that the kings had to tear down because the children of Israel started to worship it and they were not supposed to, then that means, guess what? It was not okay for the children of Israel to get into Asherah worship or this goddess worship. So anything that has to do with another god or goddess, right, definitely outside of the Most High Yahweh's will that he did not prescribe, then it's not okay. And if this chakra meditation, this tantra yoga chakra meditation has to do with another god outside of the Most High Yahweh, well, why wouldn't the Most High Yahweh allow you to do it and punish you at the same time? It said, when I was reading from the Hindu scriptures, it said this was the Indian culture from the Hindus. But okay, so there was this cult stand found from the it's called the Tel Ta'anak. There were some excavations at Tel Ta'anak. It's in the Palestinian area, like 5 miles southeast of Megiddo. They found they found this cult stand in 1968, and it's called the cult stand from Ta'anak, right? Let me see what I wanted to read from it. So they had these tiers, these 4 tiers, on the stands, right? So they had lions or cherubim on one tier. The cherubim on the tiers, they house these deities, right? And in tier 2, there was this sacred tree, right? And then on tier 4 was this nude female. And so this deity, Asherah, is represented in tiers number 2 and number 4. And so this is why in the KJV it says that the groves or the trees, right, those sacred trees, with this nude female in tier 4, right? They are the representatives of the Asherah. right? So she's referred to as the lion lady, right? Now watch this. In tier 3. In tier 3 of this cult stand from Tanakh, the deity one expects to find between the two cherubim is absent, right? Now, the children of Israel pretty much they made this. This was over in the Palestinian area known as what's called Israel today, right? So this cult stand they had in tier 3, this place was absent. So the deity one expects to find between the two cherubim is absent. So notice what I said about Exodus 25 verse 22. It says the Most High was going to meet, right, with Moshe there above the lid of atonement between the cherubim, right? So the children of Israel clearly have been seen here to make these images, these graven images. Right? I'm reading from a book called Yahweh and the Sun by J. Glenn Taylor. It's a PDF. I can send it to you guys. But, the deity might be represented at the Israelite Tanakh in the late 10th century BCE by an invisible deity posed between two cherubim. And we know who dwells between the cherubim. Yahweh of hosts. Yahweh of hosts dwells between the cherubim. Right? Watch this. I think of 2 Kings 23. Let me see. Is that what I want to have you read? PA. 2 Kings 23. Yeah. Read 2 Kings verse 23.
Okay, 2 Kings. Verse
and then we'll go
23.
into some. Yeah. Hold on. Chapter 23. 2 Kings chapter 23.
What verse?
Let me see here. This is King. King gets his time. Josiah. Okay, keep. Let's do this. Let's read starting at verse 1.
Okay. And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and of Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of the Lord, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets, and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their eyes all the words of the book of the covenant, which was found in the house of the Lord. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and with all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant, and the king commanded Hilkiah, the high priest, and the priests of the second order, and the keepers of the door, to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made for Baal, and for the grove, and for all the hosts of heaven, and burnt them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel. And
all right. So was that verse 6?
That was verse 4. I'm reading verse 5.
Okay, go ahead.
And he put down the idols, the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judea had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, and in high places around about Jerusalem. Them also to burn incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven. Verse 6. And he brought out the grove from the house of the Lord without Jerusalem unto the brook of Kidron, and burnt it at the brook of Kidron, and stamped it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people.
All right, just to pause there. So, verse 7, and he broke down the houses of the male cult prostitutes that were in the house of Yahweh, where the women wove tapestries for the Asherah. I read that verse from the scriptures ISR. So when you see grove, you see Asherah. Right? Get this stuff out of the house of the Lord. Right? Get this stuff out of the house of the Lord.
And as you can see that Israel is being influenced by other nations.
Yep.
This is the influence.
Like he told them not to in Deuteronomy 12. Yeah. He said, do not inquire how they serve their gods.
Exactly. See, and this is what happens when we don't keep the word of the Lord. This is what happens when we want to sit back and be like everybody else. This is what happens when we mess around and compromise and try to reason with other people who don't love the God that we serve. This is what happens.
Right.
You eventually get influenced, you get enticed into doing things that you know you're not supposed to be doing.
All right, so a lot when I was listening to Brother Ron Shields, he did a lecture called Meditation by the Book. If you haven't gone to see it, it's a great lecture. Not that long, but he talked about what the biblical definition of meditation would be. Now, I also look at some of the oral traditions. I don't necessarily adhere to all of the oral traditions, but I look at them to see the perspective. I look at them for historical reference. I look at them to see how certain people back then, first century CE, viewed things and how they did things. There was called the Shemoneh Esrei, the Amidah. They were called standing prayers, and they equated meditation to praying. Right? So when you look at meditation in the Bible, BA, you can start with Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. Read that for me. Read Joshua chapter 1, verse 8.
Okay, Joshua chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to pick it up in verse 8. And it reads, "This book of the law should not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein, for then thou shalt make thy ways prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success."
All right, so when it says the book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, you shall meditate on it day and night. So what shall we meditate on, BA?
We should be meditating on the word of the Most High, or in other words, we should be meditating on his Torah, his teachings, his divine, set apart, holy teachings. Right.
Now, Brother Ron Shields, this was a shortened way of him saying what meditation was, and I'll read it, and I'll read the definition from the Hebrew word here. So, in a shortened way, Ron Shields defines meditation as muse over your murmurs to melodies at any moment. I'll say that again. Muse over your murmurs to melodies at any moment. So the word meditation here in Joshua chapter 1, verse 8, it's the word Hagah, H1897, right? It means to moan, growl, utter, muse, devise, plot, speak, meditate, imagine, murmur, in pleasure or anger, ponder, imagine, meditate, mutter, speak, study, talk, utter. Right? When you're speaking, you're uttering, you're pondering, you're murmuring about what? At least from Joshua chapter 1, verse 8, the book of the law. What's the book of the law? The Torah. right? Let me see. Let's go to a couple of other examples. Psalms chapter 1, verse 2. Yeah, Psalm chapter 1, verse 2.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite from the book of Psalms chapter 1 is one of my favorite passages to read.
There's a lot of meditation definition going on from Psalms. Psalms are a lot of songs, right?
Exactly. You want me to start from verse 1 and work my way to verse 3, or just read just specifically verse 2?
Just read verse 2.
All right. Psalms chapter 1 and verse 2. Mm-hmm. But his delight is in the law, or the Torah of the Lord. And in his law doeth he meditate day and night.
What's supposed to be meditating on? BA again?
Supposed to be meditating on his word, which is also known as Torah.
Right. I'm going to read Psalms 49 and 3. This ain't got nothing to do with Shiva and Shan-T. Psalms 49 and 3 says, my mouth speaks wisdom, and the meditation of my heart brings understanding. Meditation of my heart brings understanding.
You know, the King James says, and my meditation of my heart shall be of understanding.
Right. Let me see. Let me leave you with a. There's a few passages here that Brother Ron Shields put out in his meditation by the book. But you look up the word meditation, and that was the word Haggah, H1897. Right. A lot of them in Psalms. Psalms 4, Psalms 19, Psalms 36, 76, 77, 104, 119. 143 and 145. There's a bunch more, you know. But you're supposed to be meditating on this word. You can speak. Go ahead, Ben.
No, this is a series that Brother Ron Shields did. What's the name of it again?
It's called Meditation by the Book.
All right, I haven't heard that one before, but I most definitely want to tap into it. Brother Shields is most definitely a person who I do hold in high regard. I appreciate the brother's scholarship and his information. I do really appreciate him. I really do.
Right. And in his presentation, he pretty much said we meditate to remember the Most High Yahweh and His law. We meditate to understand the law, and we meditate on the law to what? Keep from sin. You can meditate while working, like Isaac was doing before he met Rebekah, right? You can meditate through the day and the night, like we saw in Joshua, how you read it, right? We meditate while in the bed. You know, we could do it right before we go to sleep. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, these things are here in the text. You know, like I said, Psalms, there's passages even in Malachi show you how to meditate. You meditate with reverence. You meditate with patience. You meditate with your heart. And you can speak these things out. You can sing these things out. You can put them to melodies. You know what I mean? Musing, pondering over your murmurs. Maybe your murmur pretty much is under your breath. You can do it standing up. You can do it laying down. Right? You meditate on the word. To remember the Most High Yahweh and His law, to understand that law, right, to do the law. You understand something when you're doing it. And as you're doing it, you understand it more and more. To keep you from sinning. That's the point of meditation. So meditation also includes prayer. That's why I talked about in the Talmud, they have the Amidah, Ahmad means to stand. It's called the standing prayers, and they equate it to meditation. Shemona Esrei.
It's almost pressing number 1.
18 blessings, prayers, and meditations. Go ahead, Sal.
Yeah, it's letting you know whenever you're ready. Someone's pressing number 1 whenever you're ready.
Go ahead, let them in, and then we'll get to this crystal stuff. Go ahead.
All right, family. Once again, if you want to chime in, the number is 563-999-3674. Simply press the number 1 or add to the conversation. Remember, what you call in, you got to keep it clean, keep it professional. Let's go to the call. Let's go to 256. You're live.
Shalom, this is Nashama. Hi, Shan-T. And shalom, brother.
What's happening?
Nothing much. Look, nothing much. I'm enjoying this conversation, and you know why. But I guess it goes back to what's the goal of all this stuff everybody's doing. What's the goal? And I think what you and Brother B.A. were just saying a moment ago, with all these verses that's talking about meditation, somewhere in there has something to do with speaking. And that's a game changer. Just specifically from a lot of Eastern cultural practices, the yoga, meditation, and all this, it's all about quietness and silence. And I'm gonna tell you, when you were talking, the scripture popped in my mind, and I don't know if somebody want to read it, but it's Psalms 115, and I could paraphrase it. It's Psalm 115, verse 1 through 8, and it talks about the difference between Yah and the gods that people create. He talks about how our Elohim is in the heavens, and he do whatever he wants to, but the powers of the people are the works of their own hands. And it talks about how they have ears but they don't hear, they have hands but they can't handle anything, they have noses but they can't smell, and they also have their feet can't walk, and they also have a mouth but they can't speak. Now, the part that came to mind when you were talking a minute ago is verse 8. It says, those who make them are like them. So is everyone who trusts in them. So this is where my heart went. What's the goal? If you're trying to be like, the goal is to be like your creator or your power. Everybody wants to imitate their power. Everybody wants to please them. And they know in order to please whoever their power is, you imitate what they like. You do what they like. And in this Psalm 115, he's like, everybody that follows these voiceless, powerless powers become like them. We are children of Yah. If he's our father, we reflect who he is, that we become like him. We start to love what he loves. So it goes back to what you were saying at the beginning. Israel has always had this issue of liking somebody else's daddy more than they like their own. And that's not to sound irreverent. So I'm a PK, a preacher's kid, and I saw that my whole life. Everybody wanted my parents. They wanted my parents more than they wanted their own. So some of them would get in trouble trying to act like my parents in their own household. Well, guess what? You got two different rules that you're trying to abide by. The rule of somebody else's household inside the household that you're in. It don't work. I don't care how good they are, how nice and sweet they are. It never works. And what'll happen is it'll create a rift. That's the problem with Israel imitating these other gods or powers, is that you start acting like something that's foreign to your father. I had a minister a long time ago. He said, this is in church, but it made all the sense in the world. He was an older guy. He said that the Most High doesn't have stepchildren.
Right.
He don't have stepchildren. You either his child or you're not.
Period.
And even if you come into the family, you don't get a different set of rules than the children that's already natural born in the family.
That's
and
right.
I think a lot of times we want to grab a hold to somebody else's rules and apply them because we're not satisfied with our Father. We don't. And you say this all the time, Shan-T. Why do we need anything more? It's because we have become so much like the nations that we fall for the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and we lack wisdom. When we fall for those things, we forsake wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Wisdom is our king.
Oh no.
That's who we supposed to. By wisdom, he created the earth. So if we're trying to create,
right,
or be participants in the creation or the implementation of the kingdom, we can't imitate something that's dead. We can't imitate something that's voiceless. These cats are voiceless. They spend most of their life sitting around humming to nothing.
Sis,
they become like what they worship.
Sis, the Torah cops gonna come after you.
That's okay. I don't know none of them anyway. We're good.
The Torah cops, they gonna come and harass you and do all kind of stuff. How dare you say one rule for the stranger and one rule for the natural branches? How dare you? Oh my gosh! How dare you? That's an abomination.
They better take up with the person that wrote it. The person that said it. Again, they go back to that spoken word. He spoke things into existence. I mean, like when you were talking, it made all the sense in the world. This is all how powerful speech is. How powerful speech. And even when we were in church in Christianity, we were taught you pray with your brain, not your words. You be quiet, you be silent, you don't speak. But then you go into, is it Colossians 3:16 to talk about singing to yourselves, making melody in your heart.
Making melody
all
in
these
your heart.
These verses where there's your meaning and there's a lyric.
She quoted from the New Testament. Oh, Lord.
But that's my 2 cents. But I'm enjoying it because we need to know that where this stuff comes from. And I think I mentioned to you before, years ago, I was in like a dark spot and I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to meditate. And I was reading, it was a YouTube video about meditation. And I can't find it to save my life. Because when I read it, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
It's probably Ron. This is not Ron Shields. I don't know where it is. But Ron Shields. No, it wasn't that one.
No, this was from some Indians or whatever. It was a thing about learning how to meditate.
Oh, and, I'm talking about with the okay. Go ahead.
No, but this one, it had a disclaimer on it about side effects that you might receive. So it was like a warning. It was a disclaimer. And I just happened to look down before the music started playing, and I read this really long disclaimer. You may start hearing clicking sounds. You may start seeing things that some people in some cultures call demons. I'm like, okay, this ain't for me. So that was I was glad I saw that. I was glad, Yah, he'll protect you and keep you from stupid when you bent on it. Sometimes he'll just grab you back from stupid, and he did that day for me because I'm like, if these are the people that's putting out the video on how to do it, and they have a sense of integrity enough to tell you, hey, we want you to know that this might happen to you, then you might want to listen to them because none of that stuff that they were saying might happen was anything glamorous. And so, again, praise, you so right. Hallelujah. Because you can get pulled in and you lose your mind. Again, you become like what you worship. You can lose all common sense trying to do something, thinking that this is the quick way to get to a sense of feeling in Most High's presence. And when you're talking about those groves, I'm going to stop talking, Sean. But
no,
when you're
talking
about
those
groves,
we got time.
That's the thing.
Stay on if you want. We got time. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. But the thing about it with the groves and them always building these places of worship, they always trying to force the divine presence in their life. And you trying to force it by doing everything but what he said do.
Right.
But that's my 1 cent. I appreciate the show and the shows you guys do. Shalom. Do I press 6?
What's your name again, sis? I didn't catch your name.
It's Neshama.
Neshama?
Yes.
Okay, sis. Yeah. Nice to meet you. Appreciate you. Sis.
Likewise.
Yeah, that's Sister Neshama. Thank you, Sister Neshama, for calling in. I always talk to my sis when I can. But yeah, I thank the sis for her comment and her testimony. You know what I mean? Anything that you're getting into, definitely that's works based that the Most High don't give you, and it give you a disclaimer that it's going to possibly harm you in some sort of way. I mean, the Most High wouldn't give you. The Most High Yahweh would not give you anything that's unpleasant for you to do, especially when it's supposed to bring you closer and nigh and near to the Spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
To protect you and to guide you, to comfort you. You know what I mean? But anything else you want to bring out, BA, before I go into these crystals? Talk about.
Actually, we have somebody else pressing number 1 as well. Just to let you guys know.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Let them in. Let them in.
All right, family. Once again, the number is 563-999-3674. Actually, the brother, I believe, from Ghana reached out to me. I have his number. I'm trying to see if I can get him in right now because, he's having difficulty calling in directly into the show. But we do have another person that pressed number 1. But hold on, guys. I'm going to try this number really quick. But matter of fact, let me get this caller. First, and then I'll try to call him in.
All right.
443, you're live. Yeah.
Hey, y'all, this is Brother Mercy.
Brother Mercy.
I have to comment. I know we hear the cliche saying all the time about God doesn't have grandchildren. But I just want to submit to everyone, that is not a verse in the Bible, okay? I mean, I know that's a cliche, but that's not written. So, sometimes we hold on to things that are cliches. I know what they're trying to say, but really, I can provide. See, I'm going to provide scripture to support what I'm saying. Ephesians 4:6. BA, if you go to that, it says, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. See, people don't want to hear that, but he's in all.
You went to Paul.
And see, the thing is, it's just you have to acknowledge that. You have to acknowledge the God in you. That's what you really have to do. But you don't want to do that, Some of us, because we condemn other people because of the way they act and the way they behave, and that's what we do. We say you can't be no child of God. Look what you did. Look at that sin you committed. Oh no, wait, But who are we to judge? So I just say that we have to acknowledge who we are, and the last thing somebody want to call you is a child of God. That's the last thing somebody want to call you. They don't want to acknowledge that from you, because if they call you that, they have to respect you. They have to love you. They have to honor you. You see what I'm saying? And this is not directly to the lady who said that. I'm just, because that's what a lot of people of the opposite race don't want to call us children of God. They don't want to do that. People of the white persuasion, sometimes they don't want to call us children of God, because then that means they're persecuting God's children. So I think if we all consider ourselves children of God, we might look at each other differently. We might treat each other differently. We might not judge each other, especially if one of us go tell daddy, because, you judging me. I think I'm going to go tell our daddy on you.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
That's what I had to say, brother.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Brother Mercy, because then all of a sudden people are going to realize the Most High talks to you people. He actually cares for you guys. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I'm glad the sis brought that out, where when you take hold to the covenant, you're taking hold to the Most High's ways, because the Most High, this is the Most High's kingdom. He's the Father. We're the children, right? When we come into the house, we got rules to abide by. We got the covenant to abide by, and we get adopted. That's what Romans 11 is about, right? You're getting adopted. That's what Ephesians 2 is about. You're getting adopted. When you get adopted, when you get brought back into the house, into the kingdom, there's one rule, one mishpat for the native born as well as the stranger, the foreigner, the alien who choose to join and be in that house, right? And so people think when they come into the house, they think they have a separate rules for the adopted children or for the stepchildren or for the grandchildren or whatever. They think they have different rules, and they think they're supposed to receive the same reward, talking about they have these different rules. No, it's the same rules for you. it's the same rules for you. I mean, I know that's how it went in my mama's house. You know what I mean? When we had guests over here, when we had guests at the house, even grandma's house. When we had guests at the house, guess what? The guests had to abide by the rules of that house. If they did not want to abide by the rules of that house, they had to go back down to where they came from. You know what I mean? So, but thank you for bringing that out, Brother Mercy, and Sister Neshama.
All right, family. Once again, the number is 563-999-3674. I'm going to try to call this number directly from the Blog Talk Radio phone queue. Well, let's see if this works. Hold on one second. Let's see.
And this is the brother from Ghana that you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, he's over in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to
call from here.
Yeah, but it's saying the call has failed, so because it's not a U.S. number.
He said he would try. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can figure something else out. But we do have somebody else pressing number 1 at this time. Again, the number is 563-999-3674. We appreciate the family out there that's calling in, chiming into the program. Let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 510. You're live.
Yo.
Oh, I know.
How y'all doing?
Hey, what's good on town business?
Hey, man, I'm sitting over here listening, Benny. Man. Shalom, sis. Shalom, Brother Sal. Shalom, Brother B.A. Hey, I'm sitting over here listening, and it's funny you was touching on that magic, the spells and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I will say that you forgot one important spell. You didn't mention it. It's,
what I didn't mention?
When they bury your drawers in the front yard and you can't leave the house. Yo,
oh man!
So my dad's side is from Monroe, Louisiana. Hey, my dad's side is from Monroe, Louisiana, right? And my uncle, man, he's such a trip. He's so spooked at spells that he all he does is talk about witches. Like he don't talk about witches, but if we in conversation and the topic of witches come up or somebody shooting spells, man, he's out the door.
Hey man. I done heard a whole bunch of superstitions in my time too, man. It is crazy the stuff I've heard.
Gosh, man. I ain't even afraid of that. I mean, I'm not even fearing that stuff, man. I don't pay it no mind. You know, it might work, it might not work, but I don't believe in it. So, I just keep on rocking with the Bible, man, and just try to roll out. But I will say, like, a lot of this stuff just reminds me of kind of like how Jephthah set up, not Jephthah, but Jeroboam. How Jeroboam set up, those groves in the other mountain, and the weird part about it is it's like we know that I can't really even say how he was, but I would say that it might have been provoked because he was feuding with Rehoboam, and he didn't want to go over there. But he set him up, and I don't even think he meant no harm by it, and he probably had good intentions, but it led the people astray, and it started having them worship all kind of weird stuff, and all kind of idols and stuff. And the weird thing about it is I see the same things going on today. People don't even really know that they're tapping into this idolatry. They don't even know it. They don't even realize it. And the cool part about it is everything is laid out in the Torah. So if it was meant for us to do that stuff, then it would be lined up in there. But what it does say is do not make no no graven images, pretty much stuff that you make with your hands or you carve with some kind of tools and bow down and worship them. I don't really think we know what the true concept of bowing down and worshiping is. It's like we always think it's a physical, like get on your knees and then you bow to this idol, and that's it. But it goes a lot deeper than that. Just like murder, murder is not just premeditated killings, But I just got one more story, and then I'll leave out with you guys, man. But and it's an awesome build and everything. But I used to drive for Uber. I still do, but I just ain't driven in a long time. But I think it was last year. I was working for on Halloween night, and they had all kind of parties in Frisco. And, so you pick up all type of different people, man. They get in there dressed all up and stuff. And I got in there. It was one group, and it was this black girl in there. And I forget her name, but I ain't going to say it anyway. But she, we were sitting in the front, and she had she had some South American descent in her. And she, she was telling me about her grandmother and how she dealt with Santa Maria, and all of that stuff, and how they tap into the elders, And from what she was telling me, it was just like, like they don't really mean no harm by it because they believe in God, but they're like, well, God is busy, so we're gonna call on the elders, and the elders gonna come and help, So I just brought her up to the story of Saul, and how, if God really means, some people to come and talk to you, then He'll send them. You know what I'm saying? But you always go to God for anything that you need. God, Yahweh, or God, Yahweh, Yahweh, whatever one. I don't mean to offend nobody by saying God, but it's just real weird, man. How stuff just keeps repeating. Everything just repeats in the same cycle. It's the same kind of spirits on the earth today as it was back in the day, and it's real crazy. It's just real crazy, and it's just real odd to see that. But y'all doing a powerful lesson, man, with the chakras and all of that. All of that stuff is from the Mother Nations, man. Same thing that got Israel into trouble last, back in the day, and we're picking up these same things. It's weird. But yeah, man, y'all having a beautiful build. I'm gonna tap in. I might tap in a little bit later after y'all finish because I really want to hear what else you're gonna bring out. But this is definitely an awesome build. Shalom to y'all.
Shalom, brother Vinny.
Shalom, brother Vinny. We don't politic over no names over here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We know who you're talking about. We don't play semantics here. Plus you are our brother. We fellowship together, man. So it's all good.
Right. Before we get into the crystals thing, I wanna read a couple of things. BA, how much time we got, Sal?
Yeah, right now is 9:52. We have at least another 45 minutes left on the air.
Okay. I'll save that for last. Let's do this, BA. The crystals.
Oh, this
now.
Should be good.
I'm gonna go back to Deuteronomy 18.
All right.
Starting at verse 9. I'm gonna read it real quick here. It says, "When you come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim gives you, do not learn to do according to the abominations of those nations." Right. I talked about the conjuring spells. Didn't really talk about tapping into necromancy, the mediums of spiritists and stuff like that. But this could be equated to that. Divination. Practice divination or user of magic. Divination or user of magic. Right? BA, while I'm getting that, can you look up actually no, let's read Exodus. We're gonna go to Exodus 28, but I'm gonna look up divination and magic here, okay? Divination, magic, and sorcery. So this is
divination and magic and sorcery. Don't use those words.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
You funny.
The demons gonna jump on you now.
Let's see. What did I read? Let's see. 10. Okay, so divination. The word is kesem, divination, witchcraft. It means of the nations or false prophets. Divination, it could be an oracle, a divine sentence, or witchcraft. And then the magic, or one who practiced magic. Let's see. I think this is what I want here. Let me see. Hold on. All right, let's read all of these. So divination, one who practiced magic, enchantment, nachash means to practice divination, observe signs, learn by experience, diligently observe, practice fortune telling, right? Properly to hiss or whisper, a spell. To prognosticate. We're going to look at that word prognosticate as well. All right. So, charmers. Charmers, I indicated, charmers could be that serpent charming that we talked about when it came to that tantra yoga meditation, tapping into the chakra, trying to get that kundalini coiled up snake to pierce upward through all the 7 chakras to reach the 7th one. That goes with charming. But I'm reading from the Unger's Bible Dictionary, page 802, and I'm going to read a little bit from 803, and then I'm going to have VA read something here. Divination, diviners. Generally speaking, divination differs from prophecy in that the one is a human device, while the other is a divine gift. The one an unwarranted prying into the future by means of magical arts, superstitious incantations, or natural signs, arbitrarily interpreted. The other a partially disclosed insight into the future by the supernatural aid of Him, Most High Yahweh, who sees the end from the beginning. Right? So it says in Scripture, the diviners were false prophets. And divination was allied to witchcraft and idolatry, as we see from Deuteronomy Chapter 18, verse 10. All right? So, enchantment, the practice of conjurers and exorcists in employing incantations or magic, ritual procedures in enlisting the aid of evil spirits to effect some design or in purportedly setting free the demonized from their torment. You know, trying to get these quick, fast, fleshly, lustfully desired results right when you want them. You know, that's why people divine and enchant a lot of times, right? And we're going to see what this has to do with crystals in a hot second. So prognosticators. These are mentioned in Isaiah chapter 47, verse 13, where the prophet enumerates astrological superstitions of the Chaldeans who foretold the future by observing the phases of the moon. That's what prognosticate means. Right? And then sorcery. Sorcery is what? To whisper. Sorcery was one who professed, a sorcerer was one who professed to tell the lot of others, to tell like the fortune or lot of others, right? Or the outcome of others, to have power with the evil spirits, right? This art was also practiced in connection with pharmacy, the mixing of drugs and medical compounds. So sorcery, divination, enchantment, a lot of times people are, you know, what I see these people using crystals for. Crystals are like I'm going to heal myself. You know, that's where you're getting the sorcery from. They think they're healing by touching these crystals. They think they're getting energy from them. And I've heard that people talking about, oh, we got to charge them up to the moon and charge them up to the sun. But I'm like, you know, if you're trying to get your energy from the sun or the moon, when the moon and the sun did not create itself, but the Most High Yahweh created the sun and the moon, why don't you just go to the Most High Yahweh directly for the power? You know, as we see in James chapter 4, a lot of times there's power in the prayer. There's healing in prayer. There's healing in the power of prayer. Meditation, right? We see these things. So a lot of people say, hey, Shan-T, the crystals, you know, we're using them to heal. We're using them to manifest. And since they hear that word manifest, manifest is when you're trying to get something to come into a reality or fruition. You're trying to have it tangibly in front of you so that you can get your wants, your desires. You want your answers, your results right then and there, how you want them, when you want them, where you want them. I've heard people using crystals for this thing. So they're saying, okay, I'm manifesting. I'm bringing something into reality by using these crystals. And I don't know how they're using these crystals or, if they're putting them in a circle, but sometimes, like I said, they're charging them up to the moon. I don't know if they, I don't know every last single name of the crystal they use, but I'm going to have BA read Exodus 28 because I've heard of some people say, hey, Shan-T, the crystals, when people are using the crystals, they're using them for the same reason that the priest was using the stones. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Let me go back into the text because maybe I'm missing something. Go ahead, BA.
No, I just wanted to say, I know me and Sean, we have talks like this all the time. And you just brought up something. We're doing it like the priests do it when it comes to these crystals. And when I hear something like that, that just tells me that we're not reading our text we claim we are.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, let's see, because I don't remember or I don't recall seeing in the text where the crystals, I don't recall seeing in the text where the priest, where the high priest at that, I don't see the high priest using the breastplate to heal, or using the breastplate to quote unquote manifest. But we're gonna see here what the breastplate was used for, and anybody out there, call or press number 1. Let me see something here. Where I want to have you start from, BA?
You want me to start at verse 6? No, let's see. Verse 15?
Nope. Let's start. Verse 4.
Verse 4?
Actually, you know what? We gotta read a lot. Start from verse 1. Let's go. Start from verse 1 for context.
All right, all good. Verse 1. And take thou unto thee Aaron thy brother, and his sons with him from the children of Israel, that he may minister unto them in the priest's office, even Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, Ithamar, Aaron's sons. And thou shalt make holy garments for Aaron thy brother, for glory and for beauty. And thou shalt speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate and an ephod, and a robe and a broidered coat, a mitre and a girdle. And they shall make holy garments for Aaron thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And they shall take gold and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen, and they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, and of purple, of scarlet, and fine twined linen with cunning work. It shall have the 2 shoulder pieces thereof joined at the 2 edges thereof, so it shall be joined together. And the curious girdle of the ephod, which is upon it, shall be of the same according to the work thereof, even of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And thou shalt take 2 onyx stones, and engrave on them the names of the children of Israel, 6 of their names on one stone, and the other 6 names on the rest of the other stones according to their birth. With the work of an engraver in stones, like the engravings of a signet, shalt thou engrave the 2 stones with the names of the children of Israel. Thou shalt make them to be set in the ounces of gold. And thou shalt put the 2 stones upon the shoulder of the ephod for stones of memorial unto the children of Israel, and Aaron shall bear their names before the Lord upon his 2 shoulders for the memorial. And thou shalt make ounces of gold, and 2 chains of pure gold at the ends of Rishan work shalt thou make them, and fasten the Rishan chains of the ounces to the ounces. And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment with cunning work after the.
Pause. It's called a breastplate of what, B.A.?
It's called the breastplate of judgment.
Okay, go ahead.
With cunning work after the work of the ephod, thou shalt make it of gold and blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, and of twin linen shalt thou make it. 4 squares it shall be doing double. A span shall be length thereof, and a span shall be breadth thereof. And thou shalt set in the settings of stones, even 4 rows of stone. The first row shall be sardis, topaz, and carbuncle. This shall be the first row. And the second row shall be an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond. And the third row, a lingor, and an agate, and the amethyst. Amethyst. And the 4th row, a beryl, and an onyx, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold in their enclosings. And the stone shall be with the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of an insignia. Every one with his name shall be according to the 12 tribes. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate chains, and the ends of rented work of pure gold. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and shalt put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And thou shalt put the 2 rent chains of gold and the 2 rings which are on the ends of the breastplate.
Pause. Skip to verse 29. Skip to verse 29.
And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart.
The breastplate of what?
The breastplate of judgment.
Okay.
Upon his
over
heart.
His heart. Okay. Over his heart.
And he goeth into the holy place for a memorial before the Lord continually. And thou shalt put the breastplate of judgment, the Vereen, and the Thummim. The and Thummim.
The Ummim and the Thummim.
Yeah, there you go. And they shall be upon Aaron's heart when they go up in before the Lord. And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before the Lord continually. And thou shalt.
All right. Pause. All right. So I had B.A. to read all of that for a reason. When I hear people say Shan-T, people are using the crystals in the same way the priests use the crystals. Where are the priests told here? I know I had B.A. stop reading at verse 30, but is there anywhere in this text, the Bible, Genesis to Revelation, where the priests use the breastplate for healing? Because I kept seeing the Most High call this thing the breastplate of judgment that had the stones in it. B.A., are you aware of the priest using the breastplate for healing anywhere?
I don't see anywhere in here, and I've read through this quite a few times.
All right. Do you see the priest being told that these stones in the breastplate were supposed to be used for quote unquote manifestation?
I don't see it nowhere.
What do you see here, B.A.? Let's have you analyze what you see from what you just read about what the priests were supposed to do with this breastplate.
Well, pretty much, we see that the Most High instructed Moses to set Aaron and his sons apart, and then to wear garments, and they're specifically to have these materials, these crystals, on their garments, embroidered in gold, and to have each name of the tribes of Israel engraved. We also see that these priests are going to always be in and the holies of holies. They're going to always be in that
so the
area.
Holy of Holies. So what priest is allowed to go into the Holy of Holies?
The high priest.
The high priest. Okay.
The only one.
The only one. High priest. So are these people who are using these crystals, are they high priests?
Oh, no. I don't know. Well, I'm not going to go any further. I'm just going to say no.
Okay. And what Holy of Holy are they going into? No, I mean, I'm serious, B.A.
Hey, I know you're serious. And like I said, I stress to people that we spend time and reread and comprehend what the word is saying. The Holy of Holies, that was a place of serious business. Only certain individuals can go there.
The high priest. I know some people say, "Hey, I'm a priestess." I hear people say, "Well, the Most High don't allow priestess in the temple, right?" And the thing is this: remember what I brought up about the Asherah, that the Most High wants the children of Israel to understand that He does not have a female consort. So.
Exactly.
This is also a possibility that there are no priestesses or women in the temple because the Most High probably does not want to give the impression that He's like the other nations, that these other nations have some female consorts. So there's a strong possibility that the Most High Yahweh does not have priestesses or women going into the temple doing this for that reason. If you don't want to give off the impression that the Most High has a female consort, then you don't want to have priestesses. But go ahead, B.A. Continue.
I just want to say this. You know what I'm saying? Aaron had to make sure that his mind was right. Just being there, his mind had to be right. And
right.
Then we have Moses. Moses was face to face. He was actually in the presence of the Most High. So just imagine the mindset that Moses had to be in just to stand there.
Right. So my thing is this: are the people who are using these crystals, are they bearing the names of children? Excuse me. Are they engraving the names of the children of Israel on these stones? Are they setting these stones in 4 rows of 3 stones?
I highly doubt it.
Are they putting these stones over their heart?
I highly doubt it.
Are they using Urim and Tumim along with these crystals?
That's the whole.
I mean,
I highly doubt that with a capital H and a capital D.
Now, when I know in Leviticus, Leviticus 13 and 14, somewhere around there, when it talks about the lepers, right? I see the lepers having to be put outside the camp, right? I didn't see the priest taking the breastplate to heal the lepers. I saw them putting them outside the camp, right? I mean, because like I said, BA, maybe I'm missing something.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
What?
After this broadcast, we finna get stoned.
Hey, I mean, hey, no crystal formed against Shan-T shall prosper. Now, I'm asking practical questions. BA, I see the lepers, right? They get put outside of the camp for 7 days, and then the priests make a judgment to see after 7 days if they are cleansed or healed, right?
Yeah.
Make a judgment if they can come back into the house. Judgment. That's what I see this breastplate for, judgment.
And that's
not,
righteous judgment.
I'm using these crystals because I want my mama to get this new house. I want my girlfriend to get out of prison. Not using the crystals because, I'm trying to make sure that by the year 2021 I have 5 businesses open, or these stocks, these 4As work out for me. That's what I see people using these crystals for. But my thing is, where is this crystal healing for the priest, like people say? Where is it?
You know, that sister who called in earlier, she referenced Psalms 115.
Yeah.
And what just those examples you used lines up with that about how these idols, these things, or what is made with man's hands, don't respond, they don't breathe, they don't talk.
Right.
And that's considered idolatry. So, what you just brought up, these examples, would that not fall under the category of idolatry?
Yeah.
See? So we see that idolatry goes a whole lot further. So, I rest my case. I have nothing else to say.
I mean, what's the verse that says, the Most High Yahweh is my rock and my fortress and my savior? So why are we picking up these crystal rocks for energy when we got the rock of the Most High Yahweh? For real, BA. I mean, why are we going to pick up these things, these objects that got made themselves by a creator? They themselves don't hold this energy.
Hey,
so,
I'm not using none of it. I'm not using none of it. So I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, BA, like you and I, we pray, we meditate, and we fast. You know what I mean? We come before the Most High Yahweh with praise, singing, prayer, meditation biblically, right? On the word. That's what we come with. So I'm just like, I'm like, why are you needing these crystals? Why isn't the ultimate source, the Most High Yahweh, enough? Let's read something. Let's read something, DA. Let's read 2 Kings, because people like Shan-T, where was the negative consequences at? Well, let's just give you one example. Let's read 2 Kings chapter 17, start at verse 6, DA.
Okay, hold on first.
And then we can close out, because I don't have anything else to say if nobody else is pressing the one. I just want to understand what these crystals is about.
And you have a valid point. You're bringing out some questions that deserves an answer for any individual or whoever it may be that are practicing these type of behaviors. I mean, they're doing these type of these rituals or whatever you want to call them. I mean, you're doing these type of things, and we would just like to hear an explanation. For 2 Kings chapter 17.
Yeah, before you read that, I think about Psalms 23. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd. The Most High Yahweh is my shepherd. I have no wants. I lack nothing." Obedience. We hear obedience is better than sacrifice. Me being obedient to the Most High Yahweh has allowed me to have that power and that presence of the Most High Yahweh in my life. That personal relationship, BA. I find no need of crystals. I find everything that the Most High prescribed for me, that's all I need. That's all I'm operating on. My successes, my achievements, my accomplishments, my downs, and the Most High Yahweh picks me up. I didn't need to pick up the crystal. I didn't need to pick up sage. I didn't need to pick up no tarot card. I didn't need to bathe in the moon. I didn't need to tap into my chakras. You know what I mean? I just did what the Most High Yahweh prescribed here, what I see here, and that was enough for me. But that's just my little testimony. Go ahead and read, PA. 2 Kings chapter 17, starting at verse 6. These are the consequences, right, for not doing as the Most High Yahweh said do for the children of Israel.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 6. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Hala and in Habor by the river of Gozan and the cities of the Medes. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Most High, or the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods. And
so why did the Most High send Israel into captivity?
Because
what?
They feared other gods.
They revered, they reverenced other gods. Keep going. And what?
But check this out. Let me just say this real quick. Because notice the writer says this. I'll start at verse 7. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and fear of the gods. So notice how they put emphasis. This is the same Elohim or the same power that freed the children of Israel out of Egypt.
Right. He didn't free you out of Egypt to take you back to Egypt.
Exactly. This is a big deal here. This is something big. It's like a slap in the face. Ain't that something? Verse 8. And walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel which they had made. And
so they did what? They walked in the ways of the nations, B.A.?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
We're supposed to be a light to the nations. Ain't that something?
Right.
And the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their God. And they built them high places in all their cities, from the towers of the watchmen to the fenced cities. And they set them up images and groves. Now we know. You know what that is. In every high place, a high hill, and under every green tree.
Right.
And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen, whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. For they served idols. We just said that a little earlier, idolatry. Whereof the Lord had said unto them, ye shall not do this thing. 13. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn ye from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the necks of their fathers that did not believe the Lord their God. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them, and they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, there we go, and worship all the hosts of heaven, and serve Baal. And they caused their sons and daughters to pass through the fire, and use divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore, anger.
That's right.
Therefore, the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. There's a reason, but we won't get into that. 19.
No, we just did. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Judah was left, but this is Israel being taken into exile.
Go ahead. Of course. Yeah,
of course. Because of their. Go ahead.
Also, Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the land of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight.
Pause. Pause. So when people say, Shan-T, we can do these things and serve the Most High Yahweh at the same time. We can get into tapping into the chakras. We can get into crystals. We can get into tarot card reading. We can get into moon bathing. We can get into natal charts. We can get into sage watching. The Most High Yahweh laid all these things out that they was doing that made him angry, and he exiled the children of Israel to Assyria, 722 BCE. Now watch this. I'm gonna end it here. It says Ezekiel 13, verse 18. This is when the Most High Yahweh was prophesying against the prophets of Israel who were prophesying in their own heart, saying that the Most High Yahweh said and the Most High Yahweh did not say. Verse 18, check this out. And you shall say, this is what the Master Yahweh said. Woe to the women sewing cushions for all the joints of the hand, and to those making veils for the heads of every size to hunt beings. You hunt the beings of my people while you keep alive your own beings. When it says the women were sewing cushions, those are the pillows, those are the charms, the amulets. The charms, the amulets, a.k.a. the crystals. Verse 19 says, and you have profaned me among my people for handfuls of barley and for pieces of bread, to put to death beings that should not die, and to keep alive beings who should not live, by your lying to my people who listen to lies. See, in Leviticus 10 and Ezekiel 22, the Most High gave the priest so that the Most High word. Well, let me say it like this: the priests were told by the Most High Yahweh to teach the children of Israel the difference between what was holy and what was profane. In Leviticus 10 and Ezekiel 22, the difference between what's set apart, what's holy, and what's profane and abomination. Things that are disgusting to the Most High Yahweh. There is a difference here. There's things we're supposed to do when we say we have the Most High Yahweh as our God, and there's things we're not supposed to do when we say we have the Most High Yahweh as our God. It's like a parent. Like we discussed earlier, when you're in a house, you have a parent, and the parent says, this is my house, these are my rules. You don't do like Sally and Sammy down the street. Sally and Sammy's rules down the street do not apply here in this house. But see, hopefully we get provoked. Hopefully we get provoked to go back and see the difference. What's the difference between what's holy and profane? What the Most High Yahweh likes and what the Most High Yahweh dislikes. Hey, BA, one more thing. Can we close out with this? Because the people say the Most High gave us free will. Yeah, he gave us free will. Deuteronomy 30.
Yep, Deuteronomy 30.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 30. Oh, yeah. There's some things we're supposed to do with our free will here.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
And I'm done. Deuteronomy 30. Just start at verse 15. And
read out to 20.
And I'm done.
Yep, I already knew it. Yep, I already knew it. See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil. And that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply in the land. Thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou shalt go to possess it. But if thy heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but thou shalt be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land whither thou passest over Jordan to go to possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life, and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give them.
I want to say verse 11. It says, for this command which I am commanding you today, it is not too hard for you, nor is it far off. This ain't too hard, and it's not far off. And when the people say, hey, the Most High gave us free will, choice. Yeah, he gave us free will and choice, but he said, what? Choose life so that you live.
Amen.
I want to say, Kol Tehalim, Kol Kabod, Wahapitedet, Le'Yahweh Abinu, Eloheinu. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, our Father, our Elohim, our deity, our power. That's it. So I hope, this discussion tonight provokes people to go back and re-examine these things of what they're getting into. You see what I'm saying? If you want some results, check your obedience. If you want the Most High Yahweh to answer your prayers, make sure you're not asking amiss. Make sure you're not asking so you can fulfill your lustly flesh and desires. Like James chapter 4 says. If you want somebody to get healed, go ahead and start praying and meditate. The biblical way of meditate. Meditate on the word with your heart, with reverence for the Most High Yahweh. To understand the Most High Yahweh's laws, statutes, and commandments, what he laid out for you to walk in, to live out. That's all I got to say, B.A. I thank Sal. I thank the listeners. I thank the callers for calling in. I appreciate you. And like I said, to the Most High Yahweh be the glory, just to go back and be provoked, to study these things out. Take these things to the Most High Yahweh in prayer, in meditation, in fasting, and ask the Most High Yahweh to bring you to a sound conclusion. Make sure that your personal relationship is good. Make sure your will lines up with the will of the Most High Yahweh. All praise be to the Most High Yahweh through his son Yeshua. Go ahead, B.A.
No, all I got to say is I'm hoping that these words that we shared with you and the scriptures that we read from will be a help to those who are truly seeking and searching. I've said enough. Sal, you can take it away.
Shalom, shalom. The second quarter.
Don't touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Radio.